And we're back.
In the saddle again.
Back. All right.
Get in the hole.
You're going home.
You're just destroying me at the moment.
Am I?
Yes. You're up by 2. Going to be real.
Yeah. So this topic, not sponsored by, just is. Now it's time for Tom's 5 favorite games of all time.
Sponsored by Red Strawberry Ale. Reds. It's delicious.
Reds, they bean you with apples in their commercials.
I've never seen one, but
Oh yeah, they literally is just like, what beer do you want? And they're making their decision, and then they just get nailed in the head by an apple. And it's just like, oh, I'll have a Reds apple, eh?
oh fuck.
Jesus Christ, man.
Hop still closer. Anyway, your list. Do it.
All right. So, honorable mentions first. So, well, the big thing about my list is that I kind of had genres that I wanted to make sure were on my list. And then I kind of built it around that. And then, so yeah, that's kind of where my head was at when I was making the list.
You know what I forgot of mine was Champions of Norath.
The first one or the one that we played?
The remake that we played.
It wasn't
PS2
the remake. It was
Extended.
Champions something, because it was the second Champions game on PS2.
It wasn't it Champions of Norath?
Champions of North was the first one. We didn't play that one.
Oh,
We
whatever.
played the second one.
Dude, we played the shit out of that game.
Oh
That
my god,
probably
we
should've
played
made my
that
list.
so much. But yeah, so I tried to get genres in.
Oh my god, nice
That
shot.
was such a good shot. I tried to get genres in on mine. Jeez, never mind. I'm just gonna have to keep unlocking my phone. So honorable mention number 1 goes to Axiom Verge.
Nice.
That's-
I played a little bit of it.
So PS4 Metroidvania game, definitely styled after Super Metroid, like entirely. But I don't know, like as I continue to play it more and more and more, I keep gaining a higher and higher appreciation for it. Kind of like when during our Shantae playthrough.
Shantae.
Well, not playthrough because we haven't beaten it yet, but
I went over the tree.
because I just started having a greater and greater appreciation for the game design, and not just the game design of yesteryear that it was. Shit, I have no good shot. Jesus.
Wham!
Well, I'm just gonna rocket through the trees then. I just start having more and more appreciation for the design of the game, and more appreciation for the design of it, like after the fact,
You're gonna hit that tree.
and how shit.
You're gonna hit that tree.
We'll find out.
Why is there a tree there?
I don't know. Just over time, just seeing the design of those older games honed to more modern standards, and that game just oozed Super Metroid and just kind of made it a lot more fun. Controls a lot nicer, power-ups that were awesome and like completely useful in combat as well as outside of combat.
Yeah, I think I only killed like 2 bosses in that game because I think that came out right around when Batman came out and stuff. So I just like stopped playing games and just,
Yeah, I think
No.
that was April 2015.
sounds about right.
Yeah, I think so. So yeah, that would came out right around the time you were probably playing something else. And you're not as much of a fan of Metroidvanias as I am. Shit. So that gets an honorable mention because it's a Metroidvania that I feel
Competent.
like competently nailed pretty much everything about it and then expanded on it in awesome and unique ways. There's a few flaws to it, like the map's kind of confusing and stuff like that, but not enough to hamper or take it off of an honorable mention list for me. Second honorable mention, Bloodborne.
Bloodborne. It's a fucking great game.
Yeah, and if you don't know me, I love the Soul series so much. I have so
Bloodborne's
much fun playing those games, and I'm about to get my PS3 back finally after all these years.
After like 3 years.
After like 3 years, this weekend. So I plan on doing another full run through the entire Soul series, and hopefully by the time I'm done, the new Dark Souls 3 DLC will come out, so I can play that. But I'm actually going to take a look at the lore and all the item descriptions and everything this time around,
By the way, that new trailer looks sick as fuck.
Oh yeah, God, like I just love that series so much because, I mean, it doesn't hold your hand, which is something that kind of doesn't exist anymore. It gives you a few like word bubbles on the ground to start you off, but after that, it's just like, well, figure your shit out.
Yeah, and then you get the community that says, "Hey, go this way or do
Hidden
this."
wall here.
Yeah, you know, it's a great game.
I just love that Souls type of game, and now I really want to go and check out the lore because IGN UK is doing a Dark Souls playthrough called Prepare to Try, where
It's a pretty solid name.
Yeah, it is. They already did Dark Souls 1, and now they're doing Dark Souls 3. Because it was Dark Souls noob playing through Dark Souls 1, trying to beat it before Dark Souls 3 came out. And it's actually...
Yes, okay, I remember.
It was a really awesome series, and the new series is also freaking... Those guys are hilarious, and it's a lot of fun to watch. But one of them, like, knows super well the lore and everything, and, like, every time he picks up an item that he's like, oh, that's important, look at the item description. Then he'll read it off, and then he'll explain all the back lore and all the fan theories and stuff that he knows. It's just like... That's a whole different layer to the game that I never even really touched.
Yeah.
I just loved playing through it because I love the boss design, I love the challenge, I love the everything about that. And then it was just like, there's this whole other thing that I never even touched.
Yeah, it's like a whole new,
that's
like,
amazing.
I mean, I've watched videos on the lore for like Bloodborne and stuff, and each video is like 2 hours of them just going that, okay, this is
Like,
what's going on in the game,
character.
and this is. That was just like the main story of like, hey, this is what's actually happening in the game, based off of descriptions and them showing the items and stuff. Because like it doesn't tell you the story at all.
Oh no,
You're just,
I mean, it's all about environmental clues and environmental clues where you pick up the items and the item descriptions themselves.
Yep.
Is almost entirely where the story is, which is just, it makes the story there if you want it, but not overbearing, because it could very well be very dense and overbearing with how much there actually is.
well, and then you go with that, hey, you get these umbilical cords, and it adds a whole new boss into the game, and
At
that's
the end of the game,
you know, and then you're like, okay, now I starting to understand what's going on. You know, it's just that's a good call. It's a good
yeah,
game.
that's a good. And the reason why Bloodborne's an honorable mention is because it's just I'd say it's the most accessible of all of them, but that's not a detrimental thing that I'm saying. It's accessible in the fact that it definitely rewards aggression and not as much planning out.
Definitely faster gameplay.
Yeah, faster gameplay, more accessible, and like it was just super focused on, you have a gun and you have a weapon that transforms. That's like your only tools. There's like no real, there's some magic in the game, but not a whole lot. So it's just like all of it goes down to playstyle of what you kind of want your melee attacks to be, instead of playstyle being like mage or warrior or pyromancer or things like that. I think just replay.
Why is it replay?
I don't know. So that was, yeah, it was just super focused, and I loved that so much. As well as it was themed so well around being a horror game, because that game is authentically like horrifying.
Yeah.
Like aliens and zombies, like done to the most grotesque levels possible. Like you fight a freaking spider that's covered in eyes and holes. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's a pretty It was the first one that I really got into based off of the play, because it was more aggressive. I didn't like the shield, you know, you just run around with a freaking pistol in your hand and you're offhand and a fucking meat cleaver in your main hand. You know, it's just the design of every weapon into that game is awesome.
Oh yeah. And they're almost all like super unique, so it's really dependent on what fits you at the time.
And then the introduction to the transformation of the weapon is just,
oh my god,
absolutely.
When they first did that in the trailers, I was like,
still the coolest one is when you take the cane and you slam it on the ground and it becomes a chain.
Oh yeah,
this
that
is the
freaking chain whip was awesome.
Coolest thing I've ever seen in a game. Fuck.
Or you take the sword, you put it into the hilt, and now it's a great sword.
Or a fucking hammer.
You're just walking around with a giant stone block on your back.
So,
oh god, that's so
awesome
fucking
game.
awesome.
Good call.
Third honorable mention, goes to The Witness.
That's a pretty solid gameplay game. Yeah.
Well,
I gotcha.
Shit.
I didn't play it nearly as much as you.
Well, I wouldn't even say I played it nearly as much. It's just that I completed it pretty much fully, except for like some of the super hidden ones. But like from a design standpoint, my God, like everything about that game, like the entire like design of the game is like, it's how do you do a game about discovery? Right. And about those eureka moments where it's just like, I knew it! I finally figured it out!
I figured out this weird ass puzzle and it makes no sense.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it does.
But it's like all design, like that happened to me on one part, like specifically that I remember. There's a section of puzzles where like there's like no clues or anything anywhere that you can really find. Nice shot.
Close.
There's like no clues or anything nearby to really like tell you how to solve the puzzle or anything, and I'm just like, I just don't get it. I just don't know how to solve this puzzle. Maybe I'm missing something, so I just go out, do a different section, complete that, and come back, and I'm just like, I just don't know. What the hell is it? And then like as I'm turning to walk away, the sun's reflection gleamed off the panel that I was looking at, and it showed an etched-in mark, and I was like,
this makes sense now.
Everything makes sense. It's all about reflection puzzles. Jesus Christ, calm down.
I didn't know how. But yeah, I agree.
So I was just like, how do you do that? How do you make that into a game? And oh my God, they pulled it off so freaking well. And then like it's about discovery, and then like people want to call it like it being up its own ass with the philosophical messages and stuff like that. But it's so themed around what it is. It's a game of discovery.
And it's an eerie game that there's nothing else on this island except you. And then you get to the end and you complete it, and it brings you right back to the beginning. And I'm like,
yep.
What the fuck? Yeah. Like I was hoping that there would be like some conclusion, like you'd see like some higher being, but nope.
No, it's like I think it's just meant to be it's a dream. I think in the way I best describe it, it's the dream of a scientific mind. Is kind of how I describe it, and I was just like, it's precisely like made for me, because I just love that. And then even after that, I was just like, you see the puzzle panels and everything that you see, and it's just like, oh, you see some things around the world where it's just like, oh, that kind of looks like the puzzle that I did, and it's just blended into the environment from a certain point of view. And then one time it's just like, huh. So I hit the button to do completing puzzles, and I could actually complete the puzzle that's literally just the environment, where it's just like, you blended in all of these things buried around this world that literally just look like they're just regular environment, but they're all puzzles.
Yeah, like right at the beginning, the beginning path is a puzzle.
Yep.
You know, like...
Yeah, that's all you have to do is turn around, and it's right there. It's just like, how? Like, how did you even, like, design this so fluently and so perfectly that, like, you're going through it for a while and you just never notice?
I remember when it first came out, too, there was no guides on anything, so, like, everybody literally went in and had no idea what was going on. And I think that was part of the...
That was the best.
Yeah, because we're all like, hey, how'd you do this puzzle? How'd you do that? So...
Yeah, and it totally, like, definitely gets you in the right mindset to discover, where it's just like, and if you talk to anyone who played it, it's just like, literally, if you can't solve it, you either walk away from it, you come at it later after maybe you have some new information or anything. It's either that, or you literally just take a break. Just shut the game off for a while, maybe wait until the next day to come back, and then as soon as you come back, it's just like 10 seconds. Puzzle's done. It's just like, it's just the way your mind works, or it's just like, it's kind of running in the background, like while you're sleeping and piecing it together, and then once you come at it brand new, fresh the next day, it's just like, you nail it. 10 seconds.
Yeah, that was like the reason like I couldn't get like the platinum, was because at the end you have to do all of it at once without stopping. And I'm like, oh.
And they're all puzzles that are generated on the spot.
Yeah, there's no guide.
Like, yeah, it's built into the game that those puzzles are generated. And it's so ridiculous. Like, the first one's just like, yeah, I've seen this one before. Yeah, I've seen this one before. And then you get to one section where there's 3 puzzles that pop up, and you have to figure out which one is solvable of the 3, and then actually solve that one, where it's just like, you have to do this all, and you have to do it super fast.
Yeah.
Oh my god, and it's so freaking awesome. I'm talking so much fun about this stuff, but these things are just my honorable mentions.
Right.
We haven't even gotten to my games yet. So, honorable mention number 4. Well, this one will be quick. Final Fantasy X. We already discussed this a lot. On Chris's topic. Final Fantasy, or the last honorable mention, goes to Chrono Trigger. Because I had, like, people talked it up for years. Because when the game came out, it was, like, groundbreaking. And then a lot of people put it as their favorite game of all time, favorite RPG of all time.
Yep.
And I never touched it until 2014. I finally was just like, you know what? I'm going to sit down. I'm going to play Chrono Trigger. And I was just like, how has so much of this game's mechanics not been used later on? Like no one's used this type of game mechanics before. Like, that battle system is, like, wholly unique to just Chrono Trigger. And I think maybe Chrono Cross. And I'm just like, how is nothing at all has been taken from this awesome, like, super, it's not an expansive RPG. You can beat it in, like, 18-20 hours for 100% run through. And it's super tight and focused. Everything's, like, everything you're doing revolves around either the characters in the game that you can have playable, or they're revolved around the final boss. Like, everything is super focused. There's no kind of bullshit around it.
Well, you're fucked.
Yep.
Because your guy hits the left.
Yep. Shit. I'm just gonna nail it through.
Yes.
It's just super tight and focused around everything. The battle system is still, like, really, it's so unique, and I've never really played anything like it before. Like, whereas when I tried to play Final Fantasy VI, I'm just like, I've seen all of this before. And I've seen it performed better because people learn over time. And I'm just like, Final Fantasy VI, I got like 10 hours in, and I'm just like, I'm done. I'm just kind of bored with it. I've already seen pretty much everything this game has to offer through other games. But with Chrono Trigger, I was just like, this still, like, none of this has been, like, seen before. Like, that battle system is so freaking amazing because it's active time battle gauges, but it's where the gauges actually matter for once. Instead of them just being something to watch while your character charges up. It's like,
like
super
Final
boring.
Fantasy, like 13.
Like, well, yeah, and like all the original like battle gauges and stuff like that. Where what you're doing, the enemies move slightly, and where they actually position, some of your special moves are position dependent. Because maybe it's a big radius around one enemy, maybe it's a straight line coming out from that character that it does damage. So if you time it right, you can do damage to multiple targets. And as well as the characters learn techniques that are combinations of their powers, split between 2 people and sometimes the whole party. So do you want to risk waiting for an extra few seconds while the enemies move around, or while they might even attack, just so you can have a more powerful attack?
Oh, ripped it.
It's just like, it was so... I think Child of Light kind of did had somewhat of a, I call it a simpler type of combat, where it's just like, it's easy to learn, but it's simple, but it has so much depth in its simplicity that makes it so awesome to figure out. And it's, I love that game so much.
There's some on my list that I still need to get to, but that list is just growing.
Because too many games come out.
Too many.
And you are slightly distracted at home, unlike me.
And you got none but free time.
Yeah, I have lots of games to play. But yeah, I mean, as much as I want to finally go into my top 5, that's pretty much a full episode's worth of stuff being just my honorable mentions off my top 5.
There we go.
Because I like to talk about games too much.
Yeah.
But on the next episode, I'll finally get to my top 5.
Finally do it.